On today's episode, we're going to do a tune-up on this Northstar 32 valve V8 1999 Cadillac Eldorado. We're going to start in the back, the hard part. Next, some of the tools we're going to be using: spark plugs. I'm only doing spark plugs, no wire. Wires are good. This is our spark plug 5/8 extensions, famous 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter to take off the crossbar, 13 millimeter for the battery wrench, this handy little magnet tool, some gloves. All right, let's get started. Okay, we're going to remove the negative terminal from the battery. Anytime we do any electrical work, spark plugs, wires, always want to remove ground wire. Should be loose enough. I always put this on top so it does not connect, so it will not ground out. Okay, next is our strut bar brace. There's two nuts on either side, and that is a 12 millimeter. Magnet comes in handy. Get this washer off. I do set everything in a magnetic bowl. Next, we can remove the brace. I always like to use towel or something, just protect the paint. Set tools on. Let's come right off, and we'll set it on the side. Okay, for the motor mount, we're going to remove one, and then we're going to put in place this turnbuckle, and that is going to tilt the engine forward just enough so it's easy to reach the rear spark plug wires and spark plugs. So let's remove this. We're going to move this entire motor mount. This one is going to stay in place. We're going to remove this in its place. We're going to put that turnbuckle. Turnbuckle, we're going to replace this nut back in here like that. Tighten this up. And this, all right, using this 15, I'm going to reel this in, and this will slowly bring the motor forward. So now we have some pressure on. Can remove the other motor mount. Okay, before we do that, we're going to remove this entire coil pack. It's actually pretty easy to do. 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, and they are all 10 millimeter. We'll remove this and just set this out of the way. Got that one loose. We'll go ahead and unplug these. You can't mix these up because they're different sizes, so set those out of the way. So for that back one, you really can't see it, that other 10 millimeter. If I removed one, spark plug wire, then I can get to it and only do one. As soon as you get that 10 millimeter out, plug that back in and you're good to go. All right, we do have all those, so we can pick this entire thing up, move it out of the way. You can see you can get to 1, 2, 3, 4, all of our spark plugs. So just kind of need a good spot to put this. All right, so that moves really. Other engine mount, just half. We only need to take half of it off. That's a 15. And then the engine will only be locked on this. I want to make sure that's secured. All right, so it is, both motor mounts are loose. So now here comes the magic. We are going to tighten this up and we're going to move the entire motor just a little bit forward. And I did get this idea from another YouTuber, Not So Fast. Check out his channel. He works on a whole bunch of Cadillacs. Okay. So we're just going to keep cranking this down so this whole tire motor tilts forward. Plenty of room to remove these spark plugs. Spark plug out. We have plenty of room. Okay. Let's see what kind of shape she is in. I only take off one boot at a time too, just so I don't mix this up, because I am not doing the wires. So here she comes. Plenty of room. Come on out. Take a look at you. There she is. Oh, looks a little oily. See that? Covered in oil. Maybe we have a leak somewhere. This is our old one. It's a Bosch. We're going to do our new one here on camera. We got a AC Delco. It's got to be at 0.50. These are double platinum. This is your feeler gauge. So you kind of just stick it in there. How good that shows up. I'll get a little light here. See if that helps. Okay, so let's put this on, and you want to stop at around 50. These are pre-gapped, and it is really close. Just going to open it up a little bit more. You do want to be gentle with that probe. So that one's at 50. Good to go. Let's go throw this one in. Not to block this, but so I start it like this, and I'm going to go right in there. And we're going to start it by hand. It's going right in. Should be running good. All good by hand. I like this Craftsman. It's got a good positive switch. Tighten. And now we're going to tighten it. Okay, what happened? It's always something. That rubber boot inside the socket came off inside there, and it would not let the boot go back on. It's always something. Okay, now it's good. We could put our boot back on. Good snap. Move to the next one. Keep going down the line. All right, spark plug number 3. We are moving right along. Let's get in there by hand. Get a good feel for it. And remember, one boot at a time. Cannot mess up those wires like that. And tight. Switch our ratchet. It should have a little more pep, a little more pickup. Power should run a little smoother. And a lot of times with these rear ones, they will change the front and not the rear. The rear will be like the original. So we'll see when we get there. These are Bosch spark plugs all so far. Nice and tight. On the driver's side, we can move all this stuff. And for this last one, looks like, wow, right there. Unplug this. Okay, we'll get that out, but it's a little tight. Let's go ahead and remove this. I don't know if that's an EGR valve or what that is, but let's just make it easier. I think that's another famous 10 millimeter. Okay, that's the last hole, and I did move this kind of like an EGR valve, just kind of rotate it out of the way. So should be able to get to that last one, and the rear, the hard part of the motor, will be complete. All right, finally, we have the whole back of the motor complete. 4 new spark plugs. Let's get this distributor back in place. I can remember how this thing goes now. All right. Something like that. I think I twisted it this way. There we go. Just like a glove. This last screw, and we will have our distributor back in place. All 4 new spark plugs. That tight. Plug these in. Like I said, you can't mess these up. One's larger, one's smaller. But that totally frees this up, and you can totally remove this distributor cap. Okay, we're going to lower this engine back in place. You can see this motor mount will not go in because the engine is tilted forward. So we're going to put her back in place and put that motor mount back on. Let's get our 15 and let's bring her down. You really can't see this on camera moving because it's just a little bit at the time, but it makes a huge difference. Nice and tight. So we can let this one go all the way. There she is. Okay, we can remove that and we're good to go. Engine is back in place. The rear part is done. Let's put this brace back on, and the same way it came off, I'm going to put it back on. So that was just like that. Okay, this should be like a piece of cake. Same thing, one at a time. And that is in there deep. See this spark plug firsthand. Wife was yelling at me the other day. She said, "Hey, how come you wear all those car t-shirts?" I told her, well, I do my clothes shopping at AutoZone. No, actually, she buys me a lot of the shirts, but still like shopping there. Look at that one. That one's almost, I guess, like a burnt. I don't know what that one means. Burning gas, maybe? Or... So our new one, check the gap. 0.50. Put her straight down in there. Okay, another thing too, the wife's saying, "Why are you doing all this stuff on this old car? It's such a pain in the butt." And it really is. You kind of got to love the car. I mean, if this was nothing against a Mazda or, you know, off-brand cars, but wouldn't really be that enthused about doing that. But this is such a nice car. I have to do a review on this. Needed a lot of work, but to me, it's worth it. Listen for that pop. Let's go. Move on to number 6. Oh, that one's tight. Last one. Let's see if I can muscle this one out. Oh, yeah. They were all tight, and they are all this Bosch. So somebody actually previously did it correctly. But a lot of times on front-wheel drive cars that I've owned, the front 4 are, 6 cylinders. The front 3 are one brand, and the rear ones are the original. And then mechanic shop charged you, yeah, did a tune-up. Whoa, that one's really kind of black. I guess that's, let's see if that focuses. I don't know. Finally, the last spark plug. And this job is just about complete. No bolts left. That's always a good sign. Now let's hook up this battery, and we're going to take her around the block. First startup. All right, let's take her for a ride. Take her on the highway. See what she does. Fresh tune-up. It feels a little peppier. It did start up a lot faster. That is nice. Okay, see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching.